Hi, I'm back. 2024 has been tough. I've been dealing with some stuff, part of the reason why I haven't made any videos in a long time, but it's just been a build-up of things over the years, and then in 2024 a lot of changes happened. I've been dealing with some personal health issues. I got a dog for the first time. I got a new job, but I've also been having some depressive episodes out of nowhere and not really knowing when the next one would happen. I have dealt with this since I was in high school, and it would come and go, but obviously when you become an adult and you have responsibilities and you have to look after yourself and you have a full-time job, with that on top of what I'm already going through, I basically just crashed and I didn't know what to do. Now, around 2 years ago, I did get therapy for these depressive episodes, and they told me that I had something called cyclothymia, I think. This is basically when you have periodic highs and lows, similar to bipolar, but on a much milder level. And you can get this at any time, but it's relatively normal highs, you know, feeling productive and happy and you want to get loads of stuff done, and then having these depressive lows. And me and this therapist were working together to find coping strategies and ways to prevent the lows from coming back, but it didn't work. And here I am 2 years later with the same depressive episodes and not knowing what to do. So I got therapy again in 2024, and this time it was more revealing. And I basically found out that I actually can't deal with change, which is a shocker. So I got therapy again in 2024, and this time it was a bit more revealing. Now, what I am going to say is going to sound ridiculous, because if you haven't noticed already, I am autistic, but I always thought I was really good at dealing with change. I just assumed that if I really struggled with it, I would be having instant meltdowns or shutting down or becoming angry immediately after the change, which is what I did as a child. But I believed that I'd finally developed the coping skills and ability to cope with change, and it was no longer an issue for me. And part of that is true, because yes, I don't immediately negatively respond to change and I'm able to accept it as it happens. But as an adult, you aren't the same person you were as a child, so you're going to respond to things differently as you get older anyway. And for children with autism, we can find it very difficult to understand our emotions and then express those emotions to other people. So this can result in meltdowns and anger and frustration. But when you get older, some people with autism are able to start to understand their own emotions and recognise what their needs are and find better ways to express how they're feeling to other people, which means that you no longer need to have those meltdowns or become distressed and overwhelmed. So in my case, I partially was able to recognise my needs and how I felt when change happened, but because I mask, which we will go into in a bit, I would suppress those needs and push them to the side and say, yeah, we can spontaneously change up the day, sure. But after my recent therapy that I had, I realised that actually I really struggle with change. Shocker. So I wanted to make this video for anyone that is feeling the same way, or not understanding why they're behaving or responding to certain things, but also to share what the repercussions of change can look like in autistic adults. Because for me, I also overlooked these challenges, and I'm fortunate to have therapy and discover more things about myself. But before we begin, you might have noticed the microphone here. I have got a new microphone, which I'm excited to use, and hopefully it will enhance my videos for you all. So yeah, let's just go straight into the video. So obviously, as I explained before, I was having depressive episodes for no reason, but what was actually happening was that I was allowing change to happen, masking my emotions to please others, and then burning out days later, because change is everywhere. It's constant, it's life, especially in some jobs. You know, you need a lot of flexibility. In my job, you really need flexibility, and that's a story for another time. So I was taking on a lot of change constantly, one after the other, and then wondering why, when things finally calmed down, I would become depressed and be unable to get out of bed. And I never put the two together, the change and my depression, because they didn't happen right after each other. You just think, oh, I dealt with that change really well, and then a few days go by. Why am I suddenly depressed? The day hasn't even started yet. And not thinking, hang on, maybe it's because my whole day changed. Another thing I recognised, or my therapist recognised, particularly when daily plans change. For example, if I had scheduled the night before to go on a dog walk at 10 a.m. and then don't go exactly at 10 a.m, then my whole day is ruined. Everything's gone wrong and I might as well give up because the routine's completely messed up now. So what's the point? So I would then cancel any remaining plans for that day, and if that included meeting with other people, I would text them and say that I don't feel well or I'm busy and I can't go. Change can also make someone very irritable. This can happen the same day that change occurs, or it can happen alongside the depressive periods. Everyone will suddenly piss me off. I sometimes might become mute, so that means kind of ignoring people or not responding, or I become angry at the smallest things, which for everybody on the planet, when someone snaps at something so minor like stubbing your toe, it's usually because it's a build-up of stress and problems, and then one small thing is like the tipping point. And for autistic people, this can be a build-up of constant masking and coping with life. So irritability can come alongside burnout. Now, obviously this was a great realization for me on behalf of my therapist, which I guess could have been figured out by pretty much anybody, but obviously not me. But once this was all discovered and it explained why I was feeling the way I was feeling, I then had to learn how to unmask, because that was the problem at the end of the day. I was not putting my needs first, and I was people pleasing for everyone else, and then dealing with the consequences days later. And that then led to the next issue. I had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was anymore because I have masked for so long. I don't know what is me and what is my masking, so what do I need to switch off? Masking is also like subconscious, it's not purposefully switched on. You know, when you've done it your whole life, it becomes an automatic thing, and it's very, very hard to just not do that anymore. So I've been going through that process of learning to unmask and putting my needs first and saying no to changes if I think it will affect me later on. But it's really hard for someone who looks neurotypical, which I don't believe. That's just the wonderful media that portrays autism in one very specific way, to not come across as picky or spoiled or selfish or lazy, to name a few, and be constantly told, you don't look autistic, are you sure you're autistic? You don't look like you have it. Oh, but you look so normal. Yes, I do have it actually. But yeah, in the process of unmasking, I am slowly becoming more aware of my needs and realising that everything actually affects me. not just change. It's sensory overload constantly. It's changes in plans, it's busy places, it's expectations. Everything basically gives you anxiety. And when you have too much anxiety, obviously your body is going to burn out. And if you mask, you are constantly trying to pretend that you are not anxious. So I guess I should start acting because I'm really good at masking. So yeah, for anyone doing the same in a similar stage that I'm in, you are not alone, and it is a really hard process. But it's a new year, it's a fresh start, and I'm beginning to understand what my values are, my goals, trying to put together more efficient routines together that are less likely to be disrupted, because at the moment my routines are always being interrupted. So I'm trying to put a more realistic plan in place and trying to stop caring what people think, which is very hard. But also I want to make videos more. I really enjoy it. It is just hard to write, film, edit and upload videos when you have a full-time job, but hopefully my next video won't be years later, and I hope to see you guys soon. Let me know if you resonate with any of this information in the comment section, and if you've discovered other things that may be useful that I haven't mentioned in this video. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.